Hey guys, welcome to Know Your Power. This is the Philippine Electricity Market Corporation's Power Industry Podcast, and our special guest for this morning is the President and Chief Executive Officer of More Electric and Power Corporation, Mr. Roel Castro. Sir Roel, good morning.
Good morning, morning. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you here, sir. I know this is familiar surroundings for you because this is where we hold our board meetings.
Monthly, yes, very familiar. So I'm so at home. I'm so at home.
So we appreciate the time that you've given us this morning, and we have so many questions for you because we are very interested in how things happened when more power started.
Yeah. Okay.
We will, and we would like to invite everybody. Of course, before we start, you can always send or comment uh, right below so we can read your questions for Sir Ruel.
Sure. Yeah.
So, Sir, well, let's start. Let's get started. First of all, it's very interesting in Iloilo City. Before you came and took over the franchise,
Yeah.
it was very difficult for a lot of to say the least. I mean, it would be an understatement to say na talagang maraming nahirapan na mga taga Iloilo, mga Ilonggo, dahil from the previous uh, DU,
Yes.
the distribution utility, which was Panay Electric,
Yes.
PECO. We will show you later, no, yung mga we have like evidence as to what we're trying to talk about here.
Mm-mm.
But initially, in the beginning, PECO, as far as I know, sir,
Mm-mm.
has been the distributor,
Yeah. Uh-uh.
the power distributor of Iloilo City and surrounding areas.
Yeah.
I think for
No,
over like a
no,
hundred,
96 years, I think.
96
96
years.
years. Yeah, 96 years. This was 4 years ago. Yeah, before we took over. Yeah.
Grabe, sir, 96 years. So
Uh,
you can imagine like generations
Yeah,
of
by now they should
you know,
have been, they should have been 100 years. They should have
oh my
been
gosh.
serving 100 years.
Oh, that. So, sir, I'm sure before you took over, you've studied what the situation was
Yes, yes.
in Iloilo. How difficult was it? Did you ever get the chance to talk to the Ilonggos or the
Yes,
people that live
yeah.
in the city?
Kasi before we took over, me personally, before I got to Iloilo for more, no, I was already in and out of Iloilo for what I think about 7 years. No,
Okay.
because I was also the president CEO of PAM Concepcion Power Corporation. Well, a small power plant, 135 megawatt CFB in Iloilo. So I was actually I put it up. No, we put it up. So I was in and out of Iloilo for about 7 years. Yeah, before this. Before the more job, no,
Mm,
was offered to me.
right.
No? Yeah. So, the question is, how difficult was it? Well, I would say it was difficult for me, no, personally, because I never came from the distribution side. No?
Mm-mm.
I was with transmission before in NGCP,
Right.
no, for several years. Especially on the process of the privatization of Transcon, no, or for the concession. No, then operated it for about a year. Then I went to PCPC. Then this was the first time that I was going into distribution. How difficult? Yes, it was difficult again because I never had any experience. No,
Right.
but there was just actually one guiding principle for me, no? And it was uh, I didn't actually look at what was wrong with PECO. I put it that way. No. I actually went to the consumers, no? And I mean,
Mm,
what is it that the consumers were looking for?
mm,
No, and that was where I mean the blueprint for more power started because, well, my thinking then was that if I would start with what was wrong, the thing is, I mean, we would do strategies to make it right, but it might not be swak, as they say, no, to
yeah.
what the customers were
Mm,
clamoring for.
mm,
So I went directly to the consumers. No, I mean, well, I myself tried to study and talk to customers, big, small, from different sectors. What was it that they were looking for?
Was it like a town hall meeting, or you went, individually went to different residences and
Uh,
spoke to them?
yeah, different. Ano to, there were. Well, this was at the time that when we were preparing for the takeover. No, there was I think over a year when the franchise was already. In fact, it was already signed by the president, by President Duterte. No, but we couldn't take over because there was a case up in the Supreme Court.
Mm.
No? There was we were waiting for the writ of possession. No?
Mm.
So in the absence of the writ of possession, we couldn't do anything. No? So I took advantage of the time to really, learn from the consumers. No, and very, I would say, very significant for me, no, was I visited, I did several, no, I mean the big ones, no, I mean the conglomerates, no, I mean the big loads, no, talk to them, no. But for me, what's really significant, no, is that I was visiting the small residentials, no? Because I already knew at that time that the systems loss was high,
Mm.
no, and there was I already knew that there were a lot of illegal connections,
Right.
no, but I wanted to understand why was there illegal connection, no? So we would know how to convert them. And now every afternoon I would go, to the barangays, and then and I remembered, I think this was my eighth house, that I visited one afternoon, and I was hearing the same things. They're saying, well, nag-informal na lang kami or nag-illegal kami kasi we couldn't apply. I mean,
Mm.
there were so many requirements, 14 requirements, no? So
Sir, when you talk about requirements, was this unique to Iloilo?
there was something very unique.
Okay.
One unique of the 14 was if you're married, a marriage contract.
What?
No? So again, I said, well, I mean, I believe in marriage. I believe in the sanctity of marriage, but I don't think that's necessary for you to have electric,
Yes. Right.
service. So that was one of the requirements that I immediately removed. But anyway, from 14, it went down to 3 or 4. No, but just going back to that, to that story, is so I was hearing the same things. Okay, then I was about to leave. Then I asked the homeowner. Sabi ko, Manang, how much are you paying pala? And she said, we're paying 20 pesos per kilowatt hour. I said, what? 20 pesos? Well, at that time when Iloilo was actually branded as the most expensive at
Right.
12 pesos. Now, at 12 pesos, and it was the regulated, or it was the official rate. But there were residents paying 20 pesos, not
Sir.
because they were on illegal connection.
Ah.
They
Okay.
were they were nakakabit ang bahay nila, in the bahay ng isang teacher, and the teacher was actually collecting from them 20 pesos per kilowatt hour.
Hold on, sir. So 20 pesos per kilowatt hour. Who do they pay the 20
to
pesos?
the teacher, to the owner of the meter, where they were
So they were allowed to tap into the.
yeah, supposedly hindi. I mean, that's illegal,
Yeah.
but since I mean, the service was very poor, and they couldn't apply, and that was what she was saying. They couldn't apply, they couldn't comply. And one of the requirements that that they really couldn't comply with, which was common among by the thousands, is that pag informal settler ka, you have to get the consent of the landowner
Mm.
to for you to apply. No? And it's because in the application you have to have your proof of ownership.
Mm.
No? So I mean, natural, wala siyang lupa, wala siyang so hindi talaga mabigyan. So
Right.
that was one of the things very significant that we're doing now in Iloilo. I actually removed that requirement of proof of ownership, no, as as a requirement for
Mm,
application.
mm.
So that way, well, long story, but the effect of that, we were able to convert close to about 30,000, or I would say 20,000 informal settlers who were considered illegal
Illegal.
at the time to become legal, to be into the legal fold. So what was the effect? The effect was that systems loss went down,
Mm,
but more importantly for me, the most important thing was that these informal settlers are now paying the real rate,
right,
the correct rate.
right.
No, not yung may patong pa kasi dahil wala silang choice. No? So, if there's one thing, one contribution I would say that we've made in Iloilo, no, I mean, it's really this, is really the conversion of these informal settlers.
So that's so surprising that first of all, I'd like to ask, like, how long has this been going on before you you were able to fix it? Like,
We started about 3, 4 years ago, no, and I think the most significant,
well, prior to you taking over, like, how long has this been going on? Like,
for the
the
consumers, yeah,
consumers where they charge others, like the informal settlers,
yeah.
extra.
Well, what I know, I mean, it has been there for what, 20 years. I mean, that was,
So
yeah, because there were some clients, some customers that I talked to were telling me, they've been illegal. I mean, they admitted it. They've been illegal for the last 20 years, no? Because it was, they couldn't apply, no? They couldn't comply
right.
with the requirements.
20 pesos per kilowatt hour, sir, just to give our viewers an idea how much that's going to cost on a monthly basis. If you were using a refrigerator and let's say a few items, so if let's say a resident from Metro Manila would be spending like 1,200 pesos at 20 peso per kilowatt hour in Iloilo, how much would a resident pay for their?
Yeah, for now, I mean, since our rate is already, actually, we're single digit now. We're about 9
Oh,
pesos something.
okay.
No? So, I mean, if the rate was 20 pesos, if you were saying 1,200, they
Mm.
will be paying more than
Oh my
2,400
gosh, like double the
for the same
amount here.
consumption.
For people who live in Metro Manila, a resident from Iloilo City will be paying double the
Double.
amount.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for 20 years, this was going on, and they had to contend with that because they can't apply.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes, yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I can only begin to imagine like what the process was in changing all the things that were wrong
Yes, yeah.
with and how's did it affect also the business? I mean the businessmen because they're paying a lot more right before.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
has it been better for some
Yes.
of for most of them?
That's correct. Yeah. Very recently, I asked the University of Asian Pacific to actually do a study on the economic impact, no, of more power when we came in.
Mm.
Now, I mean, I'm still waiting for the result, but they were already telling me that the impact, no, has been big. No, so I would say to the local ordinary businessman. No? One is the rate. Second, it actually is really the service. No? Before we came in, this may be a bit technical, no, but there are indices in the power industry, in the distribution, no, that we use, which are the SIFI and SIDI, or long and short of it, the duration and frequency of interruptions. No?
Mhm.
At the time when we came in, which I guess was the same, was the same state of facilities. No? Uh, it was actually about, if I'm not mistaken, 3 times a month. No? Duration, I think, is about an hour.
Mm.
No? So, I
Okay.
mean, if you were a businessman, I mean, even if, let's say, you have freezers, you have softwares, and so on.
Right. Yeah.
No? So these are, immediately you know the impact of it.
Sure.
Number two is that since the power was not stable, no, there were a lot of, until now, I would say we're getting complaints of under voltage, no, but I would say that's already minimal compared to 3 years ago when we came in. no? Where I mean, lots of connections at the load end, or even not at the load end, though. We're getting low voltage. The quality was really not good. So complaints of phasers, ref, no aircon, no TV, no, getting busted.
Yes.
No? So, but now I would say, I mean, hindi naman sa pagmamayabang, but I think having poured in close to about 2 billion pesos of investments, to improve the facilities, transmission, I would say electric lines, transformers, substations, reclosers, softwares, and so on. So, what used to be three in a month, no, actually ngayon will just be a fraction of one. No, I
Okay.
mean, then the duration, which used to be by counted by the hours, no, ngayon, I mean, it's down to, I mean, we're just talking about minutes. The other thing is systems loss when we came in was about 30%.
That's
No,
huge.
very big. Wherein the cap is actually just single digit. No?
Mhm.
I mean, it's about 6.75 for private DUs. So from we were absorbing the losses between the cap and the 30%. No, but for less than a year, we were able to bring it down to single digit. No, and the last 2 years, no, or over 2 years, we were already within cap. No? So it gives a lot of relief to consumers.
So I was wondering, yeah, you were like, based on your explanation and also description of what went on before. And I've had conversations also from people I know who lived in Iloilo City.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes I've seen, I've actually heard some of the complaints before when Pecco was still in charge,
Yeah.
and he had to like sometimes they were like almost in tears, just because of the frustration they
Yeah.
felt when they received their power bill.
Yes.
And it's more than their, it's more
Yes.
than what they were supposed to pay, and
Correct.
then they're
Yes.
charged for, and then they have no choice, and when they complain about it, they're left with,
There's nowhere to complain.
there's nowhere to complain.
Yes.
So, and I can, so the enormity of the changes that you had to make, including the investment in
Yes.
infrastructure as well. Like, um I'm sorry, but we're not bashing anybody here,
Yes. Yes. We're
right?
not. I mean,
We're just talking about the realities
yes.
that happened on the ground back in the day. Did they stop investing in infrastructure at a certain point when they were operating the distribution
Well,
utility there?
I couldn't really say, no. I really couldn't say if they stopped. But, from my conclusion is if they were, it was not enough. No, it was not enough. Because, I mean, if the investment was just right, no, I mean, it wouldn't get into a point where your system's loss would be 30%. No, I mean, it wouldn't, I mean, and I think this was the very reason why the consumers of Iloilo, I mean, really came up in arms, I mean, so to speak.
Right.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to write Congress, they had to write DOE, the ERC. I mean, the consumer groups became so bold and so strong. No? I mean, to make their complaints known. No, because they were not getting the service.
Mhm.
Now, I would equate that service to the level of investment, or to the to level of concern, no, that the DU would have for their consumers. So if it's not that, then of course, I mean, you would really get, I mean, you would really get this consumers so frustrated, and even to the point that, I mean, they will be angry. No, that they
I
will be
think there was,
forced to write, since helpless na sila with the DU. I mean, they would have to get relief somewhere.
I saw like, it's just so I find, it's not funny, but I found it amusing that there was I don't know, a regular consumer who received their electricity bill.
Yeah,
It's like 100,000 pesos, or
yeah,
and it's they're not even using that much electricity. So
correct.
how did that happen? Like,
Yeah, I think I
how can
think
something like that happen?
yeah, these are just secondary stories, no? I mean,
Yeah.
that I've been hearing, because some of their
Yeah.
employees actually also joined us. But I mean, not because of that. But well, what I learned is that at some point they were just doing averaging, or they were just
Mm.
doing blindfold
Ah, really?
approach. No?
Okay.
Well, for one, when we came in, and until now, but I would say the bulk was really during the first 2 years. So we had to replace 30,000, over 30,000 meters. And these were old, these were dilapidated, these were not working. So, I mean, if that is your basis for billing, and that is your cash register, no? And it is not, functioning well, and if you have to follow it legally, I mean, you will not be able to get the kind of returns that you should. No, because I mean, sira eh.
Yeah.
Ano to? Then at some point, and well, you're not investing as well to replace them. No, but you need to get the same revenues from them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just extrapolating. I mean, from what we know, because in our case, well, I knew that there was a very big mistrust actually by the consumers on the billing.
Mm.
So when we started, and until now, no, until now, this is a practice that we do. We actually take pictures of every meter that we read on a monthly basis
Right.
for all customers.
Mm.
For all customers. So if there will be dispute, or I mean, they feel that bakit ganito ang bill ko, no, so forth and so on. So there will really be basis. So we will show them, this is the picture of the last billing, and then the reading here is the same as your as the one reflected in your statement of account to this month, wherein this is the billing, this is the reading, and it's matched to ano to. Now, I mean, that's the first step, no, that we do to make sure that the integrity of the figures in the statement of account is there. But of course, sometimes, I mean, there can be more disputes because, well, sometimes the meters, there can also be some glitches, no?
Right.
But you isolate that now. I mean, yes, I mean, if real problems, that's fine. But generally, I mean, we put back the trust of the consumers to the bill. No, because ang mahirap nun is that if they don't trust the bill, no, and if they say that this billing statement is invented, this billing statement is dinoktor, no, and everything. So I mean, then you lose the credibility as a DU.
I can imagine like how many complaints they receive every day from their consumers based on the anecdotal testimony of some of
Yeah.
the consumers, and this is something that you also considered, sir, like
Yeah. Oh,
when you entered
yeah. When
the market.
we, yeah. Well, I would even say, well, I'll, well, jokingly, I actually tell them, the complaints that we receive now is actually, or the concerns that we receive now is even more than their time. No, because during their time they never recorded it. No, I mean they even didn't get to answer them. No, so I mean it didn't get into the official records. But tayo ngayon, we record everything, and on three platforms. No, the CWDO, which is required by the ERC, which is a Consumer Welfare Desk office.
Mm.
We have our helpline, which is a 24 by 7 call anytime. No? I mean, 24 by 7, we have our associates to answer that. And we have the social media. And social media, we're actually getting about 60% or 67% of the concerns, complaints through social media. No, and we answer them. Ano to, we answer each and every concern that's there. No?
Sir, the level of
So,
vitriol that you receive compared to before, I'm sure it's a lot lower now.
correct. Yes. Yeah. It's a lot lower. But in terms of number, I think it's the same. But the severity, no, I
The
would say
intensity of
the
the anger.
intensity, yes. Oo. At saka ngayon, I mean, it's not hindi na anger, eh,
Yeah.
no. But of course, I mean, there will be a number, no, who would. But it really stems from the fact that hindi nila nalaman na meron palang outage. No, na meron palang scheduled outage. Of course, I mean, just like any one of us, I mean, that would be your first burst. No? But when you tell them, ay, sir, alam niyo, sir, nakapost yan, no? Sa website, no, and everything, and pinadala namin by text, and say, okay. No, because again, I mean, we know that, I mean, we're going out of our way, to really inform and make sure. In fact, for me, well, we just came from the planning conference last week. No? And well, those statistics were shown. And I was saying that yes, those statistics are good because hindi naman talaga galit na ano to. But I'd like to actually still bring it down. No? Para, I mean, they're informed. They know everything that's happening. No? And so, ano to, we're still not really that satisfied. No? But we're continuing to improve.
I'm sure there are a lot of executives, sirs, who share the same philosophy when it comes to running a business, and it seems like on your end, from your end, it's customer care is very, very,
Very
important,
important.
very paramount. I mean, is this something that you've always, lived by when when you ran the companies that you used to?
Yes, yeah, definitely. No? One of the things that when I was benchmarking with other companies, no, I actually found out that their customer care or well equivalent of customer care is under technical or under some other. Ano to. But in the case of more power, no, the head of technical is actually of the same rank as the head of customer care. And the reason for that is that I mean we are giving the same level of importance to customer care. No? And I mean customer care for us is not only a reaction to what the to what can be the let's say the what technical couldn't deliver. No, but for us, customer care is actually really going beyond.
Hmm.
No, it's really going beyond. So in cost our customer care as I mentioned is on the same level as the technical, so nobody well between the two of them they're equal.
That's good to know, sir. Um, Going with you know, since we're talking about customers and your clients, one of the more, I think, one of the more interesting things, or probably the first question they'll ask, is on a in a more general sense. Do you think um, the cost of electricity here in the Philippines will ever go down? Because that's always been the main bone of contention for some of the consumers.
Yeah, well that's one, well I would say that's national policy more than anything, no?
Right.
Because kami sa DU, no? Well there are over 100 of us. Now, at the end of the day, all of us are just sharing on what the total generation portfolio is.
Yes.
Okay, I mean we may have differences between this month and next month by 2 centavos, three
Because the DU is always
centavos.
usually the ones that are being, blamed for the
Blame,
price of
yeah, that's
electricity.
right, that's right. And yet, to think about it, I mean, our only influence in that number is just the DSM,
Right.
and that's even just what 15-20%. No, 60% actually is generation. No, so uh, among us, the DUs, no, we're just sharing on what is the total generation portfolio that is out in the market. Okay, so I mean, kami between DUs, of course, we compare. No? I mean, every month. I mean, let's say, which is good. No? But you can only go up to so much because I mean, you are still part and parcel. All of us are part and parcel of one general pie. So if the average of one of that pie is, let's say, let's put it na lang, an arbitrary number, 8 pesos. No, so we will just be our generation will be well one will be probably 755, the other one will be 805, no, so forth and so on. But your average of the total is just as good as what is that generation pie.
Right.
Now, it is a national well I would say it's more of a national policy now, no, on how to make sure that the total of this pie, no, is let's say from 8 pesos now, no, goes to about 4 pesos. No, then again, kami na ano to na DUs, I mean that is what we will be sharing on. So our average should be hitting the 4 pesos, which is a national quote unquote average. No, but again, I mean we can only do up to so much. Our DSM is highly regulated by the ERC. I mean, it is not arbitrary that you can just add 10
Right.
centavos, 15 centavos. That one is regulated. Your taxes, of course, I mean, that's regulated. I mean, that's Your transmission is regulated. Your generation, it's a pass-through, no, but that's 60%. So if that actually on a national basis could be brought down from a national average of, again, arbitrarily 8 pesos down to 4 pesos, I mean, then it's everyone who would who would benefit from that.
I have an interesting question for you, Sir Roel.
Sure.
If you had the chance, if you get the chance to actually give advice to the president, for example,
Mm-hmm. President of what
of the
company?
of the country of the
Republic.
country of the country.
Okay.
So let's say PBBM would seek your advice in for a long term plan
Mm-hmm.
on actually getting the electricity to more affordable
Yes.
and more and cheaper, I guess. Well, cheaper is a very
Relative.
very
Very
relative
relative. Yeah.
term, right? So what would be the first thing you would change or a policy that should change
Yes.
so that it can lead to that path?
Yeah. Well, I know it's a very difficult balance, no, that one has to play. And well, I would like to say that the direction of, well, I would say the present secretary, the present administration is correct, no? And I don't think it is that easy, no? So, yeah, I mean, I think, well, just to broaden that a bit, no? It has really to lead towards renewables, no, because in renewables, the way I see it, well, right now I would consider that the technology in renewables not yet matured, no? I mean, it is only very recent, especially after the Ukraine war, no, wherein everybody, I mean, not only the Philippines but everybody in the world got affected by the spike
Right.
in energy price, no, and which translated to electricity price, no, that really shifted now the R&D towards renewable, no, and ako, I really believe that yes, I mean, renewable will really be the thing for the what do you call this, for the long term, no. Any fuel based, I
Is there
think.
any truth though to I won't mention the name of the congressman, but
Yes.
he did say in one of the Senate hearings
Mm-mm.
that the cost for, let's say, solar power is per kilowatt hour is a lot more expensive than your traditional sources of power. Is there any truth to that?
Yes, it is. Now, I mean, if you compare it on a 24-hour, I mean, if you equate it on a 24-hour, what do you call this, 24-hour availability. Now, I mean, if you talk on a per kilowatt hour basis, probably it would come out to be cheaper.
Mm,
But if you now look at it on a, on the context on the 24 hours, no, I mean, wherein your solar couldn't do 24. I mean, if you have to put batteries to make it equivalent to 24 hours, it would cost more. No, and I think that is where the lawmaker is coming from. No, well, again, I mean, if we just talk on a per kilowatt hour basis, yes, it will come out to be cheaper. But if we look at it on a, on the context that it has to be available for it, then it would cost more. No, and in fact, well, if there is no energy storage component, you have to have load following.
mm,
I mean, there has to be the base load, stable base load that should be following what the intermittency of, which is a characteristic of renewables, no? The intermittency as a character of renewables. In fact, I was telling, well, in several, I was invited in several fora, no? Before the pandemic. I was telling the audience, if the consumers, no, wouldn't be looking for a stable power, then I mean, well, for sure, I mean, let's go 100% intermittent power. And wag lang, I mean, wag lang kayo mag-complain if your TV goes, and then, di ba, your ref goes there muna, kasi low ang to. But if you're asking for a stable power, I mean, that's the
Hindi
demand
po
of the
pwede yan, sir, sa
consumer.
mga mahilig mag-binge ng mga Korean telenovela.
Pwede. Oh. In fact, at that time, ang sikat na ano to was Probinsyano. I was telling them, kung manonood kayo ng Probinsyano, wag kayo mag-ano to. Kung lumiit yung ano to. Kasi biglang may dumaan na clouds na ano to. Nawala yung clouds, mag-ano siya. Diba?
Right.
So, again, I mean, if we have to match it with the demand or of requirement of the consumer, no, then it has to be within a portfolio. And since renewable is a bit intermittent, well, not a bit. I mean, it is intermittent, so there has to be that technology where it should be able to bring out stable power as demanded by node. But I think, as I was saying earlier, I mean, I don't consider renewable to still be to be a mature technology right now. No, I mean the R&D is very strong, no, and I believe, no, I mean at some point it will get into that.
Will we reach the targets of the government of 35% by 2030 and 50% by 2040, you think?
Well, for me, it really depends on economics. No, at the end of the day, it's really economics. No? If well, economics number one, number two is the technical side. No? So if the economics would really be, would really prove to be in the long term, no? I mean, cheaper, no, and well, the way I see it, fossil fuel will be more expensive because, well, for one, we're already seeing some blocks of countries trying to impose higher taxes on fossil fuel now, and well, it's being controlled by there's some market controls going on some of it. But renewable, I mean, your fuel, no? I mean, it's basically
The sun, the
it's
wind.
the wind. I mean, all you have to do is make sure that your technology will be more and more and more efficient, no? So as to drive down the price of it, no? And at the same time, again, the R&D is getting very strong, no? Wherein and I believe that at some point, no, I mean, those two will really intersect, where you will have good the technologies will be driven in such a way that it could equal, I mean, what fossil based technologies could deliver, at the same time price to actually be cheaper.
This is something to look forward to in the future, sir.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of the future, Sir Roel, does More Power have any plans as far as the long term is concerned? And I heard that you already signed a memorandum with Seneco.
Yeah, there was a joint venture agreement
joint
that we
venture?
already signed with them, and well, overwhelmingly with the consumers. I mean, they accepted the JVA. They approved of it. More than 50% actually voted no yes to it. No? So now we well 2 3 weeks ago we submitted to Congress the application of Negros Electric and Power Corporation, which is a sister company, which would be a sister company of More Power. No, to well, I mean, if Congress grants us that authority to well, for the franchise, no, we should be able to also bring in the necessary changes, improvements, more importantly, to Bacolod, no? Because again, I mean, Bacolod, well, the service, no, I mean, it's not really that good, no, and we could still improve on it, no, and well, the usual problem for electric co-ops is that they wouldn't have the capital needed, no, I mean, for especially for capital expenditures, no, I mean, to catch up with the growth of the economy.
Right.
No? So if you're not able to grow as fast as the economy, no, wherein the demand of the economy will be faster than what you could afford to put in your facilities, no, then when your infrastructure won't be ready for investors. No? So I think that is the basic reason why there was that acceptance in Bacolod. And of course, I mean, they also saw the being just near. I mean, it's just 1 hour away. No?
Yeah,
They saw the improvement of service, no, from
sure.
the consumers, no, and everything. So I mean, hopefully.
Is this a sign of things to come for more power, Sir Roel? Are you looking at it in terms of expansion? Will you be expanding to different areas, different regions?
Well, I'll again put it this way, no. If there is a clamor and there is the ano to, and I mean we have the resources and the ano to do it, we will. No, I mean it's not just because I mean we'd like to expand. No? I mean for the sake of expanding, but it is really to bring the customer experience. No, kasi ako kasi I feel sometimes I feel sorry for the consumers, no, that they're paying, no, and yet they're not getting the kind of service that they should be getting.
Right.
No, I mean, di ba tayo, I mean, all of us are consumers. I mean,
Yes.
I won't name ano na lang, but sometimes, I mean, I mean, if you already paid for your for the line that you got and then you're not getting it on the day that they promised, syempre magagalit ka, di ba? Maiinis ka na, binayaran ko na yan and everything. So, it's the same thing now that we're on the service side. And in fact, that has always been my example to our employees. No? So sabi ko, I mean, madali ka magalit as a consumer if you're on one end. No, you're on the consumer end. You're not on the service end. And ngayon tayo nasa service end tayo. So I mean, those consumers will have the same complaints if you don't deliver the way that you get angry.
Sure.
So now that we're in the service end, so what do we do? So we prevent consumers from it. So if we could get more customers, well, not only in Iloilo or Bacolod this time, but really I mean the consumers natin, no, I mean they get the kind of service to the amount that they pay. I mean, for me, that's what we could say. Na, I mean, we are creating a difference in the market.
With that, Sir Roel, I really appreciate that you spent some time with us this morning. I know you're a busy man.
No
and,
problem.
and
Anything for this is part of our service.
and you're based all the way in Iloilo. It's a good thing that you're here in Manila
Yes. Yeah.
to join us. And definitely, that's one takeaway that we will get from this conversation: more power and its belief and focus and determination, giving the best service to their customers. I think that should apply for all businesses, including the power industry,
Yes.
because
Yes,
that's it's a primary need or a primary a thing that most people use or consume
definitely.
right in their daily lives. And if you have somebody like more power to give us really good service, that we couldn't ask anything more than from more power.
Anything more for more.
Sir, well, do you have any things that you want to say before we end our podcast for this morning?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. No? And yeah, I mean, we're happy to share whatever experience we have. No, and well, to our listeners in Iloilo, no, I mean, we're not even saying that everything is done. No? I mean, we're still striving, no, to bring better service. No? And well, to all the listeners of this, no, thank you very much for taking some interest. No, and well, hopefully, no, we could be we could contribute no, to the betterment of consumer experience when it comes to electric service. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po.
If you have any questions, just post your comments down below, and you can share this video to your friends and coworkers. And to those from Iloilo City, how do you say? What's the language in Ilonggo?
In Ilonggo, we tell them what should it be? Halong. Take care.
So with that, we end Sir Roel, thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you too.
And definitely can ask you questions, right? They can contact you directly.
Definitely. Yeah, please feel free. Yeah.
You're such an approachable guy. So we really enjoy your company here
Thank
at
you.
PEMC. So that's it, guys. Thank you for so much. Thank you so much for watching Know Your Power, the podcast. We'll catch you again next time. See you till then. Bye.